Well, Sir Sadiq Khan, I should say, the long-time mayor of London, of course, since 2016, is facing renewed criticism for his house building record. Some quite striking figures. London's assessed housing need is about 88,000 homes per year, and yet apparently there were only 4,220 new home starts in the year to September 2025. That is down from 6,000 the year before. In some analyses, 5,891 starts were recorded in the previous year. That's 94% below that target. Well, Tom Copley is Deputy Mayor for Housing and Residential Development. Tom, thanks so much for joining us.
Good to be here.
Joining us this morning. 88,000 homes needed every year. Young families, young people in London, but not just young people, desperate to get on the housing ladder or even rent at an affordable price. What possible prospect is there of their achieving that objective when you're 94% below your target?
Well, thank you for having me on. Look, in the year before the pandemic, London actually completed more homes than in any year since the 1930s. But still, a significant achievement. We started 116,000 affordable homes in London under the Mayor's previous affordable homes programme. But there's absolutely no doubt that there has been a confluence of issues that have hit us in the last few years. There's been all the general issues that have affected house building both in the UK and around the world. We've had rising construction costs. We've had the impact of Brexit, the war in Ukraine and things like that. But there are three areas in particular that have disproportionately hit London in terms of our house building because of the nature of our built environment. So there was the botched introduction of the building safety regulator by the last government, which has caused massive delays before homes can even get spades in the ground. There was also the very sort of haphazard and chaotic introduction of new safety regulation regarding second staircases in buildings over 18 metres, again, disproportionately hitting London because of the number of tall buildings that we build here. And then the third thing being, of course, the rise in interest rates. That's not only had an impact on the financing costs of actually building homes in London, but also, of course, it's massively affected people's ability to buy because it's now more expensive to get mortgages.
Sure.
These issues have affected London disproportionately compared to the rest of the country.
Well, Deputy Mayor, I mean, you just lauded the Mayor for the last time that the city was building enough homes, which you say was just before the pandemic. So let me get this straight. When loads of homes are built, that's all down to the Mayor and he should be congratulated. But when no homes are built, it's nothing to do with him.
I think you've got to look at where the levers are here. Look, there's absolutely no doubt that house building has got much more difficult in London over the last 2 to 3 years in particular. Because,
and that's nothing to do with the Mayor.
Because of the reasons that I set out. But these were not issues that were created in London. They weren't created by the Mayor. They weren't created in London specifically. They were created in Whitehall. They were created in Westminster. And they were created
London is doing
under
worse than other cities.
The previous government. So what we are doing is working with the new government to address that. You probably heard at the end of last year, the Mayor worked with the Housing Secretary, Steve Reed, on a new package of measures to respond to the very stark figures that you set out at the beginning of the segment.
But the thing is, Deputy Mayor,
and to address those. So we're bringing in a new emergency threshold for affordable housing. We've got new planning powers for the Mayor to be able to drive forward development in London, and also new funding.
The thing is, Deputy Mayor, is that you're not just missing the target by a little bit. You're missing it by 94%. I mean, this isn't just a house building problem. This is going to actually scar Londoners potentially for years. People who might have expected to get homes won't be able to do so. And what you're saying is it's nothing to do with Sadiq Khan. He's been in office since 2016.
What I'm saying, Lewis, is that we are responding to those very stark figures that you set out at the beginning of the programme.
And it's worse in other cities. It's worse in other cities. So it must be something to do with him.
It's the reason why we are particularly affected in London is, as I say, because of the nature of our built environment. We've got a new regulator which regulates high risk
Or is it also because your London
buildings.
plan? Or is it also because your London plan imposes regulatory requirements on house builders that are above and beyond other cities, including energy efficiency, net zero standards, urban greening, minimum space standards, limits on parking, fire and safety standards, which are sometimes too onerous, some national, some local. Some of it is to do with Sadiq Khan, isn't it? You're making it harder for people and for house builders to build homes.
I would say two things about that. First of all, it's absolutely vital, particularly if we're going to be meeting our obligations around net zero, for us to be building buildings that are energy efficient, that are well designed, that are great places for people to live in.
I'm sorry, I reckon a lot of young Londoners
if we're going to be living at higher density, Lewis, we have to make sure the buildings are well designed. But the other thing,
let me just come back on that. In a world where the President of the United States has pulled out of the Paris Climate Accords, I reckon that your average young Londoner would be willing to trade in, 10% on energy efficiency standards or net zero standards in order to have a house. I'm not sure why they should lose their home because of net zero and our minuscule contribution
Let me finish. The other thing is, the Mayor's draft London plan was published in 2017. These things have been in place for now quite a number of years. We've only seen this big drop-off of starts in London in the last 2 to 3 years for the reasons that I set out at the beginning of the programme, because of the botched introduction of the Building Safety Regulator, because of the introduction of national regulations, not regulations through the Mayor's London plan, not policies in the Mayor's London plan, but national regulations. And of course, that real spike in interest rates that we saw as a result of a Liz Truss mini-budget. These are the events that have correlated with that terrible drop-off in starts that you are absolutely right to highlight, and that we are working with the government to address.
The interest rate position is important, and that is why social homes becomes even more important in a position where people are no longer able to afford to buy. The problem is your record on social homes is abysmal as well, isn't it?
No, it's absolutely not. It's the opposite, in fact.
Well,
Lewis.
let me just tell the listeners.
Let me set this out. Under Boris Johnson, working with the Cameron Osborne government, social housing was pretty much abolished, not just in London, but around the country. When Sadiq Khan took office, there were just 3 homes for social rent in the pipeline. At the end of his 2016 to 23 Affordable Homes programme, in the final year, 15,000 homes at social rent levels were started in London. That's an extraordinary achievement. But not just that, we brought council housing back as well.
How far off are you from the Affordable Homes programme target?
We brought council housing back as well. 25,000 council homes built or underway in London.
How far off are you?
Since 2018, when the Mayor launched building council homes for Londoners.
So just to tell listeners, let me just this can't be monologue. Last year, the Greater London Authority and the Ministry of Housing agreed to lower London's target for the Affordable Homes programme. So lower the target because you weren't going to meet it. You're not even going to meet the lower target, are you?
We're still committed to meeting
you might
that
be committed
target.
to it, but you're not nowhere near achieving it.
Let me tell you, we have achieved, under the Mayor's previous Affordable Homes programme, we achieved enormous numbers of starts, particularly towards the end of that programme.
How many homes?
We are absolutely committed to achieving that target.
How many homes
there is
below target?
There is quite some way to go in order to get there, but we are absolutely committed to achieving that target. And as I say, we achieved, under the Mayor's previous Affordable Homes programme, more than 116,000 starts, including 25,000 in 1 year.
I know you won't give it the figure, so I'll give the listeners the figure. Fewer than 8,000 homes have been started under the 2021-26 Affordable Homes programme, leaving the Mayor needing almost 10,000 more in the final 3 months to hit the lowered goal. Do you think you're going to build 10,000 homes in the last 3 months?
I think that ultimately we will be able to reach the range of the target that was set by the government.
So you're going to miss that target.
In the final year of the Mayor's 16 to 23 Affordable Homes programme, we started 25,000 affordable homes. You know, we have achieved significant numbers in the past.
So fewer than 8,000 homes started against an original target of 35,000. Is that nothing to do with Sadiq Khan either?
It's to do with the confluence of issues that I have already set out. As I say, it wasn't Sadiq Khan that botched the introduction of the Building Safety Regulator. It wasn't Sadiq Khan that botched the introduction of really important, I should add, national safety regulations. And it wasn't Sadiq Khan that caused interest rates to spike. What we are doing is working with this government, with this Labour government, in order to address this, to fix these things, to deliver more homes in general and more social and affordable affordable homes.
Sadiq Khan the other day hinted that he'd like to stand for a fourth term. With a record as abysmal as this, why on earth would he deserve a fourth term in office? So what's that, 16 years?
We've made some incredible achievements under Sadiq Khan on housing, as I've set out. We smashed the 116,000 affordable homes target. We brought council housing back in London with more than 25,000 built or underway since 2018. The proportion of affordable homes that are approved in London by the mayor has gone from 22% to 44% since 2016. These are very, very real achievements by this mayor. We are not insulated, however, from either the international or indeed the national winds that are blowing, but we are trying to steer the ship in the right direction.
Tom Copley there, Deputy Mayor for Housing, Residential Development. Deputy Mayor, thanks so much for joining us this morning in Westminster.